What are you hoping to learn that you're not learning?
Actually, I'm been designated the Facebook ad manager for my company, and I didn't see Facebook here today. But I mean, just more specific optimization questions. Google My Business, I've actually not done yet. I don't know if anyone in my company has done that yet, so that's a question we're going to ask when we return. Does paying for Yelp ads work?
Well, Yelp will talk to you about that. I think Emily will tell you that Yelp ads work. She works for Yelp. Some people will tell you not to advertise on Yelp. I think that businesses that advertise get more visibility in certain situations. You get your competitors removed from your profile. Because there are competitive ads on your profile page if you are not an advertiser. But there are going to be a lot of opinions about that. Samuel, do you have an opinion about that? About Yelp advertising? Does it work?
No, I think we should definitely talk to the Yelp guys about that.
Okay. Use the microphone when you speak.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Who else wants to say something that they think is advanced that they want to learn that they haven't heard so far? For all the people saying, I want advanced content.
Thanks. It would be valuable to have one of these presenters take us through a new client, one of us walking in their door, and how we would progress to take advantage of the services that they offer and how that would impact our business. And I know we could go over there and ask him, but I think it might help everyone here.
You're inviting a sales pitch, which is strictly forbidden up here. So you want to know how they would work with you? What the process would be? So we would do this first, and then we would do this, and then we would do this?
That we could be prepared when we went to them. One of the questions that I always have about these services is, how do I prepare myself and my services so that when I come to you, I have what I need so you can help me do better business? And a lot of it's been said already, but each company is going to have their own needs.
Answer that real quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely you are the product specialist, or you have the expertise about the industry that you're in. So your knowledge is going to be important when it comes to creating content. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether it be SEO or social media or even emails that you send out. It all comes down to content, and content is king, right? So your voice and your expertise have to flow through everything that comes out from your brand. So that's where I think agencies would fail. If they take full ownership of everything that's out there in the world about you, then all you're hearing is their voice, not necessarily from you. And you want to be that personal brand that they should recognize your face when they go to your website or your YouTube channel.
Did that totally satisfy your needs? Not really. Well, so we have a little wrap-up session at the end of this, and we don't have a scheduled session on how to hire or what questions to ask or what to look for. But would it be valuable for you guys if Jack and Samuel and Brett got up and talked to you, advised you on what to look for in hiring a marketing professional to work with your business? Would you like to see them talk about that? Impromptu session? Okay, what questions to ask? What things to consider? Okay, we'll do that at the end. All right, one more. I'm looking for advanced content.
So regarding Google My Business, a lot of other companies, third-party companies, keep approaching our company, offering to do like tours, photos, videos, maps, rankings, telling us we need this to rank. I get confused all the time because I'm like, can't I just do that through Google? Why would I use a third-party company for that?
So you can do it. It's a question of time and it's in some limited way expertise. But Samuel, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, there's more to it than just optimizing or claiming it for one time. It's all about fresh content there as well, right? And then a review is user-generated content. That's one of the ways that you can actually improve your Google My Business position in Google results. Also, Google looks at any other sites that are linking to that profile. So syndication about your business across multiple directories will help improve the listings ranking. So that's where there's a lot of companies that provide that service. But typically when you work with an agency that does SEO, they should be doing that for you. So you shouldn't have too many other people, like too many people involved in so many different things, because you have to manage all those people separately.
There's basic stuff you can do yourself, and then if you want to get into the labyrinth of SEO tactics, then it probably requires somebody who's going to spend who does this for a living. But if we do this little session at the end, we can talk about what to look for and how to distinguish between people who are going to rip you off and people that are really going to sell you something meaningful, and how to evaluate that. So
be careful when they say we represent Google, because only Google can actually say that. There's a lot of guys who they just just
don't even take those calls. Just hang up on those people. Okay, all right, Samuel, take it away.
All right. Well, when we were asked to speak, they said to be practical, so we try to be as practical as possible. Came up with the 7 social media strategies that you can use in your small business. We'll try to keep it as quick as possible. I think we have about 20 minutes or so. 25 minutes?
Yeah, do 25 minutes.
Okay. All right, sounds like a plan. And I brought my colleague. She's a practitioner, so she does a lot of the things in our agency, as well as we have a technology platform that we mentioned earlier. So my name is Samuel. I'm the co-founder of ClickX. I kind of came earlier, mentioned what we do. We're a technology platform. We basically built a technology that helps you track and measure and monitor all your social presence, your online visibility, so you can see how well you're performing across all your online marketing initiatives. And at the end of the day, you really want to have a pulse on how all your marketing initiatives are performing, so that way you can see what channel is producing the ROI, and you can invest money into those channels. So if you don't get phone calls and if you don't get form submissions from a certain channel and you spend a lot of money there, then you need to start questioning, well, why am I investing money there, right? So that's what that technology platform does, and I'll have Tina introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Tina. I'm the marketing manager at OneIMS, which is our agency side of our business. So we started off as an agency, and then we built ClickX as a platform. And as an agency, we just help businesses just like yourself attract new customers. And we are a team, so we have SEO experts, we have PPC, social media, content marketing, all those types of things to kind of help clients reach the maximum visibility online.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, marketing is complex, and we believe ClickX makes it simple. Just yesterday, there was an event in Chicago called LSA 18. They had several companies exhibit, and I talked to one of them, and they said they have 16 people within their marketing department. That's probably the size of some of you guys that are here as a company, right? So marketing it does take a lot of resources when you really want to do it well. So our technology kind of helps you coordinate some of those things and plan, execute, and measure how well your marketing campaigns are doing. So, go ahead.
So a lot of you guys might think, why use social media for my business? Some of you guys might be using it already, but some of you guys might not realize the value in it. Yeah, how many people are using social media? That's great. And I bet a lot of you guys are using it because it's free, right? But I think social media is a great way just because it's a two-way communication channel for you and your customers. So you're directly contacting them and frequently, poking them, rather than, expecting people to get to your website, which is probably not likely. They're not going on your website every single day, but they're going on Facebook and Instagram and those kind of platforms every day, and that's kind of why you need to be there. And some of the things about social media that is great is because there's the listening aspect to it. So you're not only putting out content, but you're listening to your customers on these social media channels, and you're allowing to engage with them as well. And another thing is that you are influencing. So you are the kind of like the authority in this sense. So you are the expert when it comes to your business and your industry, and you're influencing them to make the decision to go with you rather than your competitors. And that goes along with contributing. So your voice is going to be heard when you are speaking through social media.
So those are kind of the 4 ways you would leverage your social presence. So you're here, you're asking, okay, where do I get started? How do I go about using it, right? So I think before you do anything in terms of any kind of social media strategy, you kind of have to first and foremost know your audience. So can one of you two kind of volunteer yourself and tell me what industry you represent, and can you also tell me who's your ideal customer? Sure.
Me and this guy have a website called we'reinchicago.com, basically trying to be a Chicago search engine, so anybody that wants to find out things that are going in and around this great city of ours, we want to be the people that they use.
So who is the ideal customer?
Anybody in Chicago that's looking for something to do or anything going on.
Someone else want to volunteer and tell me who they are and what they do and who they target?
I work for a doggy daycare and boarding facility. Our ideal target is someone in their early 20s with their first dog.
So knowing your audience and who they are is an important part about any marketing that you do, because it's not about understanding who to target, but it also helps you disqualify who you shouldn't be wasting your time with. Because I think a lot of problem that we see with the social media is just, it's like Tina said, it's free, so everybody just create a profile and then just start putting some stuff and sharing content from somebody else's blog, but that doesn't really do you any good. So the first and foremost, you really need to know who are you trying to target and what are you trying to share with them, and what compelling message you have to offer and what action you want them to take. If you can't answer that question, whatever you do on the social space is a waste of time, right? So if you want to talk a little bit about the persona aspect of it.
Yeah, so just understanding, what their age range is. So you said anyone in Chicago, right? So it could be anyone from elderly to kids. Okay. But I feel like you're kind of zoning in on people that are location-based. So things like demographics, their challenges, understanding what their pain points are and what your solutions are to fixing that problem.
Because when you talk about promoting your content, right, that's when as hyper-targeted as you can get about your target persona is going to be extremely important, right? When you start doing ads, it's going to require you to know what's the demographic, what's the age group, what's the income level, where do they live, and how does that customer look like. Having that information at your fingertip is going to help you refining your message, making your targeting extremely refined, that it makes you get much better results with all your efforts that you do on the social space.
Well, I guess we had a graphic up here that kind of showed the things that people most likely are used to on their mobile devices, which is kind of communication and then social media, and then they might go into things like video. But since there are so many social media platforms out there, we would suggest for you guys to focus on maybe one or two social media platforms. And to get started, I would recommend using like Facebook or Instagram and those kinds of things where you can really excel in one platform rather than trying to do all of them.
Yeah, so once you know your persona, you will know where they actually hang out, right? So if you know their age group, you know what the interests are, then you know which channel is going to resonate with them and spend your energy and the content they produce on those channels. Second thing is understanding the buyer's journey. I think the biggest mistake most marketers make is they think every interaction should be a transaction. So what happens is that, they spend some activity on social, they might spend some money on Facebook, and then if they can show positive ROI, they immediately think it was a waste of money, right? But what you also need to understand, the entire purchase journey is an actual journey. People go through the process of deciding what problems that they have and how to solve that problem. So if you were to look at a buyer's journey, it's not a linear path where they just go from, oh, I have a problem, I'm just gonna go buy. They're looking all over the place. They probably would start their journey looking around on Google. They might go to a review site like Yelp, and they might even ask their friends. And they go to the website, they look at the content, they might even read some testimonials there. All those things are happening before they actually make a purchase decision. So if you're doing some Facebook ad and people aren't buying immediately, then don't be disheartened, because people don't just go buy immediately, just because they had a need. So that journey looks like something like this. Awareness stage. So awareness stage is when someone become aware that they have a problem, right? So we call it problem aware. Once they become aware of their problem, they also have to become aware of their solution that might be available to solve that problem. So that's when they move into more of a consideration stage. They understand, okay, there are several solutions to solve my problem, and I have several different options I can choose to solve that problem. Once they have multiple options, then they move into more of a decision stage. This is where they decide to choose one of those companies that they might choose to do business with. So if you were to, I want to just speed through here. So if you were to look at a funnel, essentially how the marketers always describe how people go about, going through the purchase decision. So you have a prospect who's not even aware of your business, but they're going about their day researching and looking for a solution to their problem. The best way to engage them is to create content that actually answers the problems that they're faced with. And the best way to answer those questions are through blogs, and the best way to promote them are through your social outlets. And that's where essentially the awareness stage happens. So your social is essentially one of the #1 ways to get in front of the prospects and obviously get your message in front of them as quick as possible. You want to touch on the pro tip?
And when it comes to social media, you're not just getting a message or a post onto Facebook. You want to get them to your website, to a landing page. So you really want to think about things as an overall experience rather than just a singular post. You want to think about social media as a part of your overall marketing strategy. So once you get them from point A to point B, you kind of have to make sure that everything else goes flawlessly as well.
Yeah, so when we talk about the seamless experience, they're starting their awareness journey and they're going through the entire purchase decision-making process. You want to make sure that you're providing all the resources that are available to them to make an educated decision about whatever the product or solution that you offer. So incorporating call to action. So one of the things that most people don't understand, we all watch videos and we all see advertising, but most often we need to be told what to do. And we often expect that people who come to your website knows that they should pick up the phone and call, or they're supposed to fill out a form. And oftentimes people just get frustrated and they don't know what to do and they just leave. So that's so true in the social channel as well. So you want to...
On Facebook, they give you a variety of options to kind of push your customers to get there rather than just posting, happy Monday, guys, here's a quick tip. Maybe you want to put in maybe like the get phone calls. So they'll be on their mobile device already, and Facebook allows you to have that CTA ready for them, so you don't have to just put your phone number, but you can actually have the button right there ready for them to call you when they need you.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is even on our websites as well. I'm sure if you go to your website, most of you may not even have a button that says request a quote or schedule a consultation or any of those sort of things. What often happens is people end up on your site and they can't seem to find what they're actually looking for, and often they bounce. And that's usually costing you money, right? So if you're spending money on Facebook or any of those ad platforms driving people to a specific page, but if they don't take an action and all you've done is just drive them there and gotten them frustrated. So even if you're creating videos or if you're creating any form of social content or even blogs, make sure to have proper call to actions there. So one of the things that we often recommend our clients do when they're creating a blog, let's say if they're explaining 5 ways to solve whatever the pain or something that they have, provide them a cheat sheet of some sort and have them request that cheat sheet by submitting a form. And by doing so, you just capture their contact information in exchange for whatever that resource that you provided them. So this way, you're growing your contact database. Like I said earlier, you cannot expect anybody to just make a purchase decision right off the bat when they came to your website. You kind of have to, kind of guide them through that decision-making process. And the best way to do is, get their information and remarket to them via email and through other means of marketing. You can gradually convert them into a believer in your product or your service, and ultimately make them make purchases from you. So even for videos and things of that nature, make sure to ask them to share, ask them to like, ask them to comment. Otherwise, they would just watch and they would go from there. So the other thing is, utilizing chatbots. When we were managing many of our agency clients, there were a big objection about using chats on their websites. And what we've seen over the years is some of our clients have over 1,600 inquiries come from their website in a given month, just from chats. So it's an unbelievable amount of inquiries that come. Most people just coming to the website are just chatting. But oftentimes we think, people are more prone to just pick up the phone and call, or they're just going to submit a form, because people are impatient. They have a problem. They don't want to wait around waiting for someone to actually call them back or wait for somebody to email them back. They want to actually chat with somebody. So social platforms, especially Facebook, provides a chat tool that you can incorporate on your website, as well as it obviously available on the Facebook page itself. So if you're sharing content, you're curating and sharing content across the social web and social, and then when they click through and land on your Facebook page, they have the opportunity to chat from there instantly and actually can interact with a person within your organization. And if they're on your website, you should know that they're there, right? Because if you go to a retail store and you walk in there, nobody says hi to you, and I'm sure you feel like, well, what kind of customer service is this, right? And it's the same way when you have a website, people are coming there, you should be saying hi to them, and you want to engage with them. And Facebook obviously provides a free tool, but there are other chat tools that you can use, and essentially gives you an opportunity to interact with the visitors. And oftentimes you could even see the company or see the place where they're visiting from, and if they have actually visited the sites before. It makes your conversation much more engaging. And also you can, with some of the other chat tools, you can actually see what pages or products that they're looking at, and you can be much more relevant in your conversation with them. You don't have to ask, oh, what are you here for? You can say, hey, what questions do you have about this product or service that you're looking at? And make that interactions a little bit more engaging for them.
So we have a little stat here, and kind of the top reason is that people want to get their questions resolved more quickly. They don't want to have to go through, so many questions with a live chat person. They can directly get it from a chat box. And with Facebook right now, if you just go on their website, they have a lot more information of how you can get started with that. You can do an automated response or a live, or you can do a combination of both. But Facebook has a lot of information how you can get started and how do you build that experience for each one of your customers.
Yeah, I mean, again, most of the things that we're talking about is extremely practical and free to use, and that's essentially what we wanted you to do, something that you can go home and implement immediately. So, and then the pro tip is obviously meet them where they are. So if they are on your Facebook page, you should be engaging with them. If they're on your website, you should be engaging with them. Don't expect them to pick up the phone and call you, or don't expect them to just submit a form. Chat with them in real time. That actually increases the likelihood of converting them into a contact. For example, we have a client that's in the manufacturing sector. They said, hey, our customers are old school. They're never going to go chat on a website. That's not how they buy. They talk on the phone. But what we were able to, not that we were wanting to prove them wrong, but we were able to prove them was, it doesn't matter the industry, people are people, and they want answers now, and they don't want to wait around. They don't want to wait around for tomorrow because they have 50 other emails to respond to, and if they wanted to answer a question, and if they're on someone's website, they want the answers to right there and then. So the fifth strategy we wanted to recommend was leveraging videos. I think we talk a lot about content, and I think most of you probably know that the last thing you want to do at the end of the day is read another blog, right? Blogs are extremely long, and it's hard to create and also hard to read, and it takes a lot longer time to read. But video has become the second largest, YouTube has become the second largest search engine. People are consuming content like crazy. We have so many stats, but we didn't want to cover any of those stats. But the fact of the matter is, you have so much knowledge about your product and your industry, and you know exactly what makes you unique and different, and you know how to make a compelling case why someone should buy from you. And you have all that knowledge, and most of the time what we do is what we call one-to-one, right? You have a sales conversation with the one prospect, and you're selling that one prospect. But if you created a video that's more of an evergreen content that you're creating, that does what called one-to-many. So you have an opportunity to create compelling messages about your product, what makes you unique, what makes your company better, and you make that available on your social platforms, on your website, that actually talks to as many visitors that might come across that, and it doesn't matter the time of the day, and it can still make a compelling reason why they should do business with you, right? So that's where video is an important factor. And then also, people trust others when they can actually see them, right? So if they can see you, and that goes to what I was saying earlier, instead of your marketing agency just creating all the content, you should become the face of the brand. You should be answering the questions that your customers have, and you should be telling them why you have a better option or a product to offer than what your competitor might have. So leveraging video is an important part of that. And the type of videos that you can probably create, that varies.
So a lot of you guys probably think I don't have time to make a video, but as mentioned earlier, like you guys have the tools right in your pocket. You have a cell phone, an iPhone, probably one of the best cameras you're paying like $1,000 for. So use that and use it to create easy content that's very shareable. So things like how-to videos and tutorials, that is what is being searched the most. So if you can become the authority and create videos on that, you will rank and you will get views on that. And things like behind the scenes and process. So I think here you have the ability to get kind of creative and kind of show off your company, who you guys are, what your mission is, and kind of just have fun with it. Don't think too much about it, but create content that you would like to watch yourself.
Yeah, and I think if you're actually creating content, people can actually put a face to their, the name or the brand behind it, and that actually increases the likelihood of doing business with you.
And here I kind of had two Instagram examples. So I think hairdressers, sure, before and after pictures are great, but video allows you to show people your work in 3D. So they want to see, like the highlights in your hair and how it kind of moves. And then the other example is a dentist. So it seems kind of boring, but I feel like a lot of people in the dentistry and even medical space have been utilizing Instagram to really showcase their work and really kind of show off their team and who they are as a practice.
And the practicing social listening is one of the other strategies. Obviously, most of what we've talked about is, kind of creating content and getting in front of people and then providing value through whatever you're sharing. But it's also very important that you're paying attention to what people have to say about your industry, about your product and your services. Go ahead.
So right now, Facebook has the inbox. I don't know if you guys have seen this update, but you can have everything all into one. So you have your messages as well as your comments and your Instagram comments. So this is just a great way for you guys to use a free tool to kind of get everything all into one instead of just keeping up with your notifications, but kind of being able to respond right away all in one inbox. And the pro tip here is just to do some digging. So sure, people are gonna talk to you on your website or on your Facebook, but you want to do that beyond that. So go onto your social media and type in your name and see what people are saying about you beyond what's already on your Facebook wall or your mentions, and go into hashtags as well. I think that's a great way to just kind of discover what people are saying, what their experience is, and how you can improve on that. And another great thing is if you have a physical location, be sure to always check your actual geotag for that location, just because a lot of times people will tag that, but they won't necessarily tag your brand or your hashtag. And these are some tools if you want to do, further in depth of reaching your mentions. So HubSpot is a great spot for that, and then also Buffer.
And some of those tools may have free versions, but to get the full advantage of it, sometimes you have to actually pay for it. So at the end of the day, regardless of all the things that you're doing, you have to track, right? Because whatever you don't track, you can't measure. Whatever you don't measure, you can't optimize, all right? So one of the things that I think when it comes to social media is many of the things like the sentiments and things are not maybe very visible, but you can obviously create some specific goals about what are things that you want to accomplish with your social presence. Is it creating awareness about your brand? Is it actually increasing the traffic to your site? Is it increasing more social proof around your product offering that people are saying good things about you across the web? So you want to know what those specific goals are so you can actually start measuring and measuring what those things are. There are definitely tools that allows you to do that. Obviously you have Facebook and Buffer and all those different tools that have its own analytics that's available. There are other paid tools that can be utilized for accomplishing this. And then the last thing is you might be wondering, okay, most of what we've just touched on was all free, organic things that you can do. But the one thing to keep in mind, it's more than ever before, there's so much content being created. We lived in a time that, I don't know if you guys ever heard it, it's called content deficit. There wasn't enough content being produced. Now we're living in a time that we call content surplus. There's so much content being produced in a given day that it's extremely hard to get your message in front of your right audience. And obviously with all the algorithm changes that's being made by all these social channels, it's getting even harder to get your message in front of your right audience. So ultimately all these platforms want you to do is spend money on them, right? Like spend money with them so they can get you can amplify your message, and you can obviously get some return on that investment. So some of the simplest things that you need to know that's possible is the ability that you have in creating these specific type of targeting capabilities. So in the beginning I talked about persona, right? So knowing your persona would help you, especially when it comes to advertising. So in the past, when you were doing a newspaper, and if you went up to a newspaper company and say, hey, I only want you to send my ads in your newspaper to people that has $250,000 in household income and lives in a very wealthy neighborhood and has a house worth over $500,000 and married and has young children. If you told that to a newspaper company, they would say that's not possible. Either you advertise with us on every house that's going to get the publication, or you don't advertise with us. But with Facebook and so many of these social channels, you have the hyper-targeting capabilities. So if you know your persona, you have so much information about who is on on social channels, especially Facebook, and how well you can target them. You can actually upload the list of contacts and customers that you have, and you can tell Facebook, show me people that just look just like this. And then Facebook say, hey, here's all the people that you can advertise to in the geographic community that you're in, right? So targeting the people that look like your customers, or targeting people that actually had, that looks like your past customers, is a great way for you to get your message and your product in front of your ideal customers. And the other thing that most people don't take advantage of is retargeting to the people that came to your website. We talked about chatting with people, but the thing that you need to keep in mind is you spend so much energy probably doing SEO and doing social media and going to events and passing out your business cards and get people to come to your website. But if they came to your website and if they left, then that you just lost the opportunity to do business with them. I don't know if you know what's the conversion rate on a website. Does anybody know what the average conversion rate on a website is? 1%. Yeah, it's between 1 to 2%, right? So that means about 98% of the people that come to your website do not take any action. That means they're just leaving, right? So you spend all that energy to drive them there, but they don't take any action. That means you lost the opportunity. So retargeting both on Google Display Network as well as on Facebook is an effective way, because these people are back on the web, browsing around, looking at stuff. And you have the ability to, even on YouTube, show a video right in front of that audience when they're about to watch a funny YouTube video. Because that's how YouTube works. It has the ability to say, hey, if for example, if I have a website and I can cookie the person that came to my website, it doesn't matter wherever else on the web that they go, I can show videos, I can show image ads, and I can have so many different type of ways to get them to come back to me and get them to take the action that I want them to do. So obviously there's a lot that you need to keep in mind in terms of how you create those campaigns, the landing pages, the offer, the call to actions. All those things are important things that you need to consider when you're building the campaign. And obviously there are several examples. I want to be considerate of the time. So some key takeaways, if Tina, if you want to just cover that.
Yeah, so the key takeaway here is the number one thing is that you need to know your audience. So knowing your customer will allow you to create the content that they want to see, that they'll enjoy, that they'll like, that they'll share, and that they'll do business with you. And then secondly, choosing the platforms that are most relevant to that audience is where you want to, spend the most of your time and kind of just improve those strategies before you kind of carry on and go into other social media platforms. And then thirdly is to create a seamless experience. So beyond social media, you want to think about your marketing strategy as a whole and how you are kind of making that experience enjoyable for the customer to become a customer of yours. And then check everything, so make sure that you are keeping track of all your analytics, see what's working, see what's not working, and kind of improve, tweak those things, especially when it comes to paid. You want to keep testing and trying again until you succeed, and just keep on keeping on.
And I just had 2 free tools. Basically, if you wanted to run your website through a grader and see how well your website actually rank in Google or how well it performs, you can go to oneims.com/grader and put your website and your email address, and we'll send you a report that kind of scans your site and gives you a score on how well you perform and what are some of the keywords that you actually rank for. And then the tool that I mentioned earlier, which is ClickX, essentially was designed with small businesses in mind. When you are trying to do so many things, it helps you kind of monitor your website performance, your keyword performance, your competitors, and ultimately also track how well your campaigns are doing as well, such as calls, form submissions, things of that nature.
Okay, give them some applause. Okay, who wants more advanced content? No, I'm kidding. There was a ton of information there, probably way too much to absorb. As I said, you're going to get the slides. Let's do some questions. They went through a lifetime's worth of stuff there.
I have a question about call to action. So I work for a tourism company in Chicago, and all of our Facebook posts, a lot of them go back to our website to buy our tickets, which then our reach on Facebook isn't high anymore because you're directing them off of Facebook. So then our Facebook posts, I battle with not linking to our website where people can't buy tickets if I don't put the link in, or I have to just rely on them to go to our website organically so I can get a higher reach. Or if I link back to my website, then they're not reaching a lot of people.
So first, is there any truth to her assertion that embedding links in organic posts is diminishing her reach on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, Facebook they don't come forth and tell you all those details, but obviously, their ultimate goal is to natively engage in the content that's on the platform, and that's what they're going for. So obviously, it seems like you've tested it and you seem to see that that's the case. I mean, as far as the better engagement, I think you need to think about not always being pushy about, hey, just go buy the ticket, but provide value like, hey, planning a trip to Italy, get this free guide on how to go plan that trip. And when they come back to your website to download it, now you capture their contact information. Now you can remarket to them on Facebook. You can remarket to them on anywhere else they go. You also capture their email address. Now you can email them, and you got permission to do that now.
One of the things that business owners should be doing is building an email list of their customers. And that's something that MailChimp will be talking about. That's a fundamental strategy. The notion of uploading your customer list to Facebook to find customers on Facebook or similar audiences relies on you having a list. And the bigger your list, the better, and it should be opt-in. I don't think there's any truth to the idea that if you embed links in organic posts that it's going to hurt your Facebook reach. Facebook is reducing the reach of commercial entities because they believe that consumers don't want to see commercial content, and they're trying to bring it back to a sort of a P2P kind of thing. So that's why you're not getting the same reach. Also, they're trying to make more money and force you to buy ads. That's why you're not getting more reach, those two things. So people told them they don't want to see all these branded posts and content in their feed. They want to see their friends' information. So that's one of the reasons why you're not getting the reach you used to get. Other questions? Nobody has any other questions? Really?
Go on lunch.
Oh, yeah. You're a professional. You don't have a question.
You guys mentioned the importance of video creation. Do you have some tools that you recommend for people who want to make their own videos?
We have a team, so I'm not quite sure what tools they use, but maybe you can answer.
I mean, there's like a lot of apps out there that you can use, but I really love like hyperlapse by Instagram. That's just a great way just to do even like over the head videos of like processes. So let's say you own like a bakery, you can literally just record yourself baking a cake and the process of that, and I feel like that's really shareable. There's a few more like Animoto if you want to more interested in making like animated videos. And there's things that you can do even like with stories on Instagram. I think I like have a list. If you just like go over there, I can like give you some. I can't think of them at the top of my head.
So one of the thoughts I had for you who has a directory of Chicago stuff is that video like Secret Chicago, Hidden Chicago, the 10 best, whatever, pizza places in Chicago. You could do a ton of video that gave people tours of the city, things to do, things that are less well known. That would not only help your brand, it would help you get visibility. It would be great content for you. That just immediately popped into my head. You could do that with a cell phone. You wouldn't have to do some professional rig, or you could do it with an SLR that had a decent video.
We kind of did.
You do that already?
Eating, drink around restaurants. Yeah.
I mean, do short clips, right? Share them on Instagram, share them on Facebook, and make them interesting, fun, stuff people don't know about. Other questions? I have to keep walking back and forth in front of this camera. Sorry.
So we've done Google AdWords before, but I always feel like the retargeting side, I've never been able to really conquer that or even get that set up. And I feel like it's like really easy to do the AdWords side, but the retargeting seems like for some reason I never get a clear answer on how actually to do that.
It's basically a factor of how much visits you already have. Like it takes a little while for the cookie to start tracking enough visitors. And so I'm assuming you have enough visitors, and in that case it should start triggering, but then you also have to set up how frequent you want to show the ad and how frequent you're refreshing the creatives. All those things are a factor. So those are some technical things that you may need to look at and how it's structured in the campaign.
Is the cookie or pixel drop automatic with if you extend AdWords into the display side?
It depends on the tag.
Do they have to configure anything on their website?
You do. So you have to have the right tags on your site and make sure that it's set up correctly. Then only the pixel can be triggered when somebody comes in.
So if you search on YouTube for how to set up a cookie For Google retargeting, I'm sure you'll find 20 videos on how to do that. Just search those issues on YouTube and you'll find people like these guys who are going to be giving you how-to instructional content. That'll also give you ideas about what to do for your own YouTube site. Other questions?
Can you talk a little bit about the mechanics of A/B testing? Let's say I have a landing page. I've created 2 of them, or I have 2 different videos, same topic. How do I get that out there and then judge the effectiveness from the viewing audience without confusing that audience?
Yeah, you certainly want to use a tool for something like that. You can't really do that manually. There are so many A/B testing tools for landing pages, and you can actually have multivariate. You can have different content exist on those landing pages. So you want to have a tool that automates the process. So most email marketing engines today, like I don't know whoever it was, the email company that's going to be talking, they all have built-in capability for A/B testing, and it automatically switches the traffic to the variations, and it will pick the one that's performing the best automatically. So you don't want to do that manually at all.
So you were talking about A/B testing landing pages or email campaigns or anything?
Any component of digital marketing.
Yeah, the Unbounce would be one. So ClickX actually integrates with several landing page tools. One of them is Unbounce. So you can use their platform and it will do the A/B testing for you.
Right, and I think MailChimp probably builds that
For
into
the email.
their email
Correct.
capability. So we could revisit that issue with email. Because subject lines is a really critical one.
To get
Often
open
some
rate.
subject lines perform much better than others. And subject lines are really critical. So
I'm experienced with retargeting just by doing Google searches and then having stuff show up in other places. Is that an automatic or is that something I have to pay for?
When you're an advertiser, yes, you're paying for it. But it's considerably cheaper than the AdWords, which is the search ad, where you're paying per click, whereas the retargeting could be on a per impression basis or a CPC model, which is cost per click as well. But it's a lot cheaper than search ads.
Well, the only reason I'm asking that is I don't want my clients to experience retargeting.
So there are ways to eliminate people based on, like, you can say, hey, eliminate cookies, or if you know their IP addresses, you can remove those IPs from seeing that ad. It's one option, but you can't completely eliminate them. But you can say, hey, if they've been to the specific pages on my website, I don't want them seeing my ad. So there's some ability to customize that in the back end.
but you're saying you don't want your customers to see retargeted ads at all.
Well, I'm in a unique kind of business. I'm a private detective. My client,
You don't want them to be aware that you're watching.
well, I don't want their husband or wife seeing that they're searching for a private detective when they're at the home computer.
Yeah, then you may not want to do retargeting.
Right.
Okay, so so
I'm all of a sudden.
you have to choose retargeting. Retargeting is not
Correct,
automatic.
it's not automatic, you
You
gotta
have
set
to
it.
choose it. You can opt out of any retargeting. So Google, I think the default setting, where's the Google person? No. Well, we'll hear this later. I think the default setting is to include the network and retargeting.
Correct.
And you have to opt out.
But I've also seen retargeting where I looked at a certain service and all of a sudden now I'm getting other services or same services but different vendors approaching that. So
That's through third-party network. It's called search retargeting. Yeah, there's capabilities where they know that the user intent showed that you searched for something and you went to a publication or something. That can trigger ads from other advertisers.
So there's a difference between you as an advertiser and you as a consumer. If you go to Amazon and you look at shoes or vacuum cleaners, you're going to see those ads all over the internet. The Amazon and its advertisers are retargeting you as a consumer shopper. You as an advertiser have control over whether or not those ads are shown to other people.
So don't advertise on Amazon.
Yeah. I don't know. Are there,
Maybe when you retain a client for your private investigator services, you need to tell them how to remove cookies.
Oh yeah, on my website we don't keep cookies.
Tell your clients. You want to take this off now that we're working.
Okay, so Samuel can talk. These guys can talk a lot more about all this stuff at their booth. So we're going to move on to Yelp, and then after Yelp, we'll have. Yes, thank you.